All right, round 3. We are on the play again, which is great. And we're keeping with this trend of reasonable hands. So, happy about that. No reason to complain about reasonable hands. Opponent on 5. They, I suppose, did not have the same fortuitous luck with reasonable hands as we have had. See what they do here. Noble Hierarch off of Forest. Okay. Grab a pool. Guess the Noble Hierarch deck, pretty much just gonna run this guy out there. Voice, sure. That's totally fine with us. Do they also have a path? Noble Hierarch, also fine. Obviously, I'm not capable of become immencing. But I can Pendelhaven plus Groundswell if I wish. Probably leave up Spell Pierce just because I can, in case of like company into Reflector Mage or something. I mean, that's not super likely here, but I don't really need to Pendelhaven, right? Do I? Is there a reason to Pendelhaven? Also, is there a reason to like toss Stride Arbor in the garbage? No, that's the same as having a land in play, and I already have a land to play next turn, so that's not relevant. Yeah. I guess getting to Spell Pierce something would be sweet for the Become Immense as well. So yeah, I probably just Groundswell this. I guess if I draw Mutagenic Growth, but then I'd have enough to cast this anyway. Yeah, okay. Let's just do this. If I hit like fetch land next turn, I can leave up Pierce and cast Become Immense. Ghost Quarter. I guess that means this Ink Moth's not doing work. But I would not mind getting Ghost Quartered like preemptively. That obviously helps with my Become Immense situation. Okay, so now we ask ourselves, do I play around company into a way to interact with Blighted Agent? Or do I just shock 4 mana cast to Become Immense and hope my opponent's dead? They also could have drawn Path, I guess. I kind of feel like I can afford to play around it and wait, but the likelihood of them having company into Reflector Mage seems very low to me. They're probably like the green-white value deck, not the Bant Nightfall deck, right? That would, I mean, all these cards could be in both, but the setup doesn't seem that way. I think I'm supposed to just go for it instead of giving them more time to find a path. I've also drawn this Glistener Elf, so I'll still have an Infector if they have drawn Path right now. The other problem, of course, is that I don't really have protection from Path if they've drawn it right now. Like, I have to hope to Spell Pierce it or draw Way to Deal, which is not very likely. Looks like they're going to cast a company. We'll see if they find a Way to Deal. which just doesn't seem terribly likely, but we'll see. If it's Reflector, like, at least I get my Blighted Agent back, and I have a couple chump blockers, and... Okay, we got there. This matchup seems pretty reasonable for us. What do I care about post-board here? Probably want this Dismember. And I'm not convinced I want much else. Dismember for a Spell Pierce. I mean, I guess I bring the Cage over a Spell Pierce. Like, seems like a relatively easy swap. Not something I'm like necessarily, like if I had a bunch of stuff I wanted in the matchup, I think I'd be perfectly fine leaving Cage at home, but I don't necessarily have a bunch of stuff I want for the matchup. Worship doesn't care about Infect, obviously, right? It just cares about life. Like 99% sure, but this is one of those times where you just double check, because why wouldn't you double check? Yeah. So that doesn't matter. So I don't have to worry about anything like that. Yeah, this seems fine. I should be cognizant of, like, Archangel Avacyn. That's a thing that people have been playing, like, one of that could get me in a weirder spot with Ink Moth, so I didn't think about that last game either, although last game it wasn't relevant. We had an Ink Moth, but we certainly weren't attacking with it. This is a hand I think I'm going to be okay with, because we have the Distortion Strike in particular. I don't think I cast Glistener Elf until turn 2. Like, they're not that likely to keep a non-interactive 7. So I think this is going to be a turn 2 Glistener Elf with Vines. If they have Path, then, you know, whoops. But most of the time, we're not going to have that luxury. I don't think I can wait till turn 3 in case they have Path. Okay, another Dork, and we've drawn a Mite. I'm gonna fire it off. I don't think I'm supposed to wait until I can Vines. Drawing this makes me feel a little more comfortable with that line, honestly, but like, I just don't think waiting is the right thing to do. We give our opponent too much setup time. It does feel kind of like they have Path, though. But maybe I'm just thinking that because that's obviously what I don't want to happen. But obviously they didn't have any, like, relevant 3. But they could easily have a hand that had, like, Dork's Company Path. You definitely keep that. It's not like their hand has to have Path for it to be a keep here. Company main phase. All right. Voice Bird. So strike growth 2, 4, 8. Can't quite do it. So what? Do I Distortion Strike, play Spellskite? That's what it feels like to me. Getting in there. I just like use these and still have this and this. I mean, if they have double path right now, then they get my Glistener Elf. But outside of 2 ways to interact with Glistener Elf on their turn, I should be pretty good to go here. I grabbed a second breeding pool since they have so many Ghost Quarters in their deck, but probably doesn't matter. No, I guess it does matter. I only have the 2 forests, so I don't want to get just actual strip mined. Seems like a pretty good matchup for us. I think it's difficult for our opponent's deck to interact very profitably with us. They're much better fighting against the fair decks, I think. And sometimes big mana decks. Obviously, they can interact with mana bases pretty well. There's the knight. No attacks, sure. Rebound the strike on our Glistener Elf. Cast Might. 6, 8. Just do this, I guess. And that's lethal. With 3 ways now to protect it, so pretty good to go here. Oh man, I'm so bad. I could have played around that too. Oh man, I'm gonna lose this game now. Well, I deserve that. Sure. Just double checking to make sure there's nothing I can do. Sure isn't. All right. Should have played around it. So be it. Unfortunately, nothing else to say about that one other than could have played around it, didn't, got punished. Justice is served today. Well, that'll be a good lesson to me for the rest of this league, I'm sure. And if I pick up Infect again. Definitely a card that I think good Infect players are certainly cognizant of, that I clearly was not. Keeping at the forefront of my mind. So yeah. I guess I don't really want to get blown out by Gavany. I mean, I could still like pump it, but yeah, I don't really see myself winning this game regardless. At this point, I guess if I drew Blighted Agent like immediately. Okay. Sweet. Then I want the spell sked, I guess, so I can not make the same mistake twice. Man, maybe justice won't be served. Maybe I'll come away with this game anyway. Obviously, we're still short lethal at the moment, so maybe not, but... Okay, probably not. Justice will probably still be served this game. Okay. Now I'm flipping back to the other side. Maybe still no. That's not a great company. see what they get now. I'm not sure what they want to grab here, to be honest. Maybe they just grab Canopy and sack it and look for another piece of interaction, but maybe they have a way to kill us. Maybe they just want to make the knight big enough. Yeah, they did grab Canopy. Maybe they just want to make the knight big enough that I have to block with my Spellskite, but if they don't have like a Gavany in play, then I can... Even if they do have a Gavany, I guess I can probably block Voice. No, I guess not. If they play Gavany... No, I could block a Voice, yeah. Because they wouldn't be able to attack with any of their dorks. They would need them all. So if I have another great draw step, maybe we'll come out with the W here, even though I don't feel like it's an earned one in this case. Tireless Tracker, that's fine with us. Doesn't change a lot. Some clue action. That does grow the knight by 1, 6, 8, 10, even if I don't block with a Spellskite. I mean, I will. Block a Voice, I think, but... Sure. Just the Voices. Okay. I think I can block with Spellskite now. I don't see a reason not to. Defense, defense. Vines does not do it. Okay, so this is kind of sweet. My opponent's set up for making this Tireless Tracker pretty huge, which should kill us this turn, right? 5 block. Also potentially Gavany again. I don't know that I can actually attack with this Blighted Agent and live. And that's what I'm currently trying to figure out. So let's say they got Fetch Land. That gives them 2 clues. And then they attack with everything except the dorks. Let's say they got another clue off of a land. So 3 lands in play. 6 total mana. They can sack 3 clues. So they'd have a 7 power Tireless Tracker. 6 power if they didn't hit a land, which is still enough to kill me with 1 blocker. So with a line that easy, I don't think I can attack with Blighted Agent. Let me make sure I'm not crazy on my math. I can give it 6 no matter how you spin it, or just 4. Giving it 6 is 7. That's 9 Infect, so not getting there. All right, looks like we're passing. Gonna have to use this agent on D, unfortunately. But both the Knight of the Reliquary and the Tireless Tracker should be big enough. I guess I can make it a 7/7 and still have outs. But again, both of those will still be too big for Blighted Agent, I believe, to live. I guess we'll see how they play it, but... Man. What a punt this game. That's too bad. This is definitely a game we could have won. Oh, they go for the Gavany line. This could be better for me, right? I think this is better for me. Well, We'll see. It might not be. It depends. They might still just go for clue sacking. Yeah. They don't even ship a dork in here, so it seems pretty likely. Come on, get a dork in there. Yeah, and I can't obviously block these two, then I die. Exactly on board, so block, block. Certainly can't afford to pass priority here. Opponent gets a million elementals. Not that that matters. Now they probably sack a clue, but are considering Gavining. I think they will choose to sack a clue at the end of the day. Obviously, we're hoping they use Gavany. That seems unlikely to me. Darn. Even with the Gavany tap first, you know. So sad. But yeah, there's really no reason for them to Gavany there. Sure, they get in 2 extra damage, but obviously they're going to kill me next turn, so what does it matter? Yep, and they have exactly enough mana to get this Tireless Tracker to a large enough size that my Blighted Agent will die. And so will we. Well played by my opponent, certainly. Oh, that would have been sweet last turn instead. But obviously we still wouldn't kill them this turn, so. Womp womp. Hopefully I've learned my lesson. Yeah, I'm going to run it back the same way. Maybe you make an argument for Spell Pierce getting back in over something like Dismember. For Blessed Alliance, but hopefully I can just have another creature to attack with. This is also a keep. I don't have a way to protect this Glistener Elf yet, though. Well, I have the Dryad Arbor in my hand, so I guess that's not doing anything bad for me. Now's the question of whether we wait to draw a protection spell. I don't think I can. I don't think I can, so let's go Breeding Pool. Yes. Elf. Cage. Hopefully we can really sell it by like fetching first and tapping the Hierarch and just like making it look as much as possible like we have something here. All the Noble Hierarchs. 4 of them in play. No, not the Shock. No. I think they're definitely trying to sell it, but maybe not. I feel like this turn I might just give them the chance to block rather than cast the Distortion Strike. Since I wouldn't have lethal next turn anyway, right? Oh no, it is lethal with the Hierarch also. 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Man, just need a protection spell so I can feel safe again. It feels like they don't have it, but I wonder, can I afford to play around it and try to draw a protection spell? I think I'm just going to attack. This is an interesting turn though. Like if I go more in on it, it's gonna, I feel like it's forcing them, like the rebound spell in particular, like yeah, a lot of people have been trained like against decks like Infect, you don't want to cast your removal spells. Like they kind of want a path on my turn, but if they only have like one path, or excuse me, they kind of want a path on their turn or in my end step. But if they only have one path and they have no interaction, they don't really want to put that down. But they also have the blockers. Like they probably would have done it, right? I don't know. It's a tough spot for sure. And they didn't do it end step either. So if they don't do it on their turn and they don't do it end step, now I'm a lot more comfortable thinking, okay, my opponent doesn't have it. Or didn't have it. The reliquary. Think we'll see a Noble Hierarch get frisky here. Six, 7. We just need a 3 pump spell for 3 or greater. Definitely just taking this. Pendelhaven is not quite what we needed. Do I go in on this elf? I think they just block with another Noble Hierarch if I don't Distortion Strike. So what, do I save the Might then? I probably save the Might. So I think we do this. I think we do this. I think we recount. That's just 8. Okay, great. Then we bash for 4. And then we have lethal next turn. We have 11, I guess, total. But obviously, opponent can draw a path, and if they don't have one, they'll probably like use Knight to find Horizon Canopy and look a little deeper. Spaz and end step is either thinking about a path or selling me on one. Again, I feel like my opponent didn't have one early, and obviously at this point, what are we playing around? We're not, you know, we don't have the luxury of really playing around anything, just letting them like get this Knight going. This is a game where I could have just went for it really early and possibly should have, right? We would have had lethal last turn if the previous turn I had used a Distortion Strike. So definitely worth mentioning. Bashing with the Knight. I didn't really expect that one. Guess I'm just taking it. Wonder if they could have like EE here. That would be pretty gross. Ghost Quarter. Wow. Yeah, that's not great. Wonder if I was supposed to haven this. Probably was. Well, this is going to be a really tough game now. Gonna have to draw Blighted Agent. Basically, just Blighted Agent. Possibly should have considered this. Obviously, we mentioned Worship. I think playing this out is fine. Man. Makes the punt game 2 sting all that much more, right? And like tough decision about whether to Distortion Strike earlier, like that also makes me kind of sad that we didn't do that earlier. So I'm not dealing with this, right? So I probably block with this and Pendelhaven it. Don't think I can afford to use my might, but block. Pendelhaven. A little tempted to do this, but oh, does it prevent damage from the things to their sources as well? You and your permanents. Okay. Pretty good. So the Pendelhaven did nothing. I guess I should read a little closely. A little more closely, excuse me. Would you like to Ghost Quarter this? Would you like to Ghost Quarter this? Alright. Get a little bit of thinning. Get that much closer to a Blighted Agent. Six, 7, 8. So they don't have lethal. Yeah. I'll still block. It's possible that I should take it now, block later. Certainly I don't want to go for anything like this. They could just Ghost Quarter themselves. Another Noble Hierarch. Buys us time, I guess. Maybe I should attack with Noble Hierarch last turn. Doesn't really seem like we're getting there that way, though. Like instead of Dryad Arbor. I almost feel like the thinning percentage that we got from getting that Dryad Arbor Ghost Quartered is more likely to be relevant, even though it's very, very small, like 1%, 1.5%. More likely to be relevant than the Noble Hierarch beats that I would have gotten. But I could have, like, not blocked. I guess then they would have had 2 Ghost Quarters. Would I have been forced to block then? It was a 3/3 at the time, right? Yeah, because the Ghost Quarter wasn't in the yard yet. So they double Ghost Quarter themselves, and it'd be 9 damage, so I guess not, no. Still not lethal here. I have plenty of mana, so I don't have to worry about this. I guess I don't block. 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I guess I don't block. Wait 1 turn. But like maybe I get blown out by Path now, and you know, that wouldn't be so good. Another chump blocker. 1 for 2. Opponent's starting to bend their hierarchs. Probably should have tapped this instead of the basics, but whatever. Path my noble hierarch in response. Sure. I have no more basics. Yeah. Okay, sure. I mean, if they just have path, we're just dead. Well, that's unfortunate. This is a match that I obviously should have won, and or could have, I guess is a better way of saying it. Should have if I played correctly, I mean. If I attack with a Spellskite in game 2, then we almost certainly win there, since we can't get Blessed Alliance. But this game was interesting too. An interesting decision about the Distortion Strike earlier, sort of getting punished by this. It's possible they had one of these paths at the time. Who knows? Hard to say at this point. It felt to me like they didn't after the way they played it, but maybe they were just trying to take a risky gamble and try to get me with Gideon's intervention after I cast something like Distortion Strike, but I doubt that. So they probably didn't have this and then drew it later after this time, but who knows? Either way, I will see you in the next round in just a moment.